Stellantis, the company behind Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, is on the brink, and it's shaking up the car world in ways no one could have predicted. Rumors of bankruptcy are swirling, dealerships are packed with unsold cars, and desperate discounts are being slapped onto vehicles left and right. But is this a golden chance for buyers to snag unbelievable deals, or are these bargains hiding a bigger mess beneath the hood? This story goes beyond just one company. It could be the beginning of an upheaval that will reshape the entire automotive landscape. The downfall begins. Stellantis's plummeting sales. The automotive giant Stellantis, home to legendary brands like Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler, has seen sales nosedive dramatically in recent years, with Dodge suffering a jaw-dropping 67% decline in sales since its 2013 peak, and Jeep taking a severe 44% hit since 2028. It's clear that Stellantis is in serious trouble. These numbers aren't just a fluke. They point to a much larger issue with the brand's direction, production choices, and its handling of consumer demand. In just 5 years, Stellantis brands collectively saw a 39% drop in sales, a decline that's rocked the automotive world and shaken up the entire industry. What's behind this steep plunge? For one, the appeal of these iconic brands is fading as competitors continue to offer consumers fresher, more innovative alternatives. Jeep, once the king of rugged adventure, has lost its edge with buyers as models grow outdated and competition stiffens from brands like Ford and Toyota, which are offering similar options at lower price points. The story is similar for Dodge, a brand synonymous with muscle and performance, now struggling to keep up in an era where eco-friendly and tech-savvy vehicles are becoming the norm. And Chrysler? It's practically on life support, with a shrinking portfolio that's done little to inspire confidence. The shocking part? This drastic decline may be only the beginning of an even darker chapter for Stellantis. Are we witnessing the fall of an automotive titan? Stellantis' unsold car crisis. If you thought a sales decline was the only issue Stellantis is grappling with, think again. As of March 2024, the company has amassed a staggering 1.4 million unsold vehicles across its dealerships. Yes, you read that right. Stellantis has over 1 million cars just sitting around collecting dust and costing the company a fortune. This glut of inventory is a monumental problem that's not only straining Stellantis' finances, but also affecting its dealerships in a big way. Initially, Stellantis ramped up production to counteract supply chain issues, believing that increased inventory would lead to stronger sales once consumers were back in the market post-pandemic. But they couldn't have been more wrong. As consumer preferences shifted and demand waned, Stellantis found itself with an overwhelming mountain of unsold cars, many of which are outdated models that simply don't attract today's buyers. Imagine walking into a dealership expecting to see the latest high-tech SUVs, only to find a lot full of models that look like they belong in a time capsule. It's a colossal misstep that has left Stellantis scrambling to find solutions to offload these unwanted vehicles. But here's the twist. These unsold cars aren't just a nuisance. They're also a sign of a company struggling to keep up with the times. Will Stellantis be able to find a way out of this inventory nightmare? Or is this excess just a taste of a bigger disaster looming ahead? Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares. One name has become a lightning rod for criticism in this unfolding saga. Carlos Tavares, CEO of Stellantis. According to the Stellantis National Dealer Council, the blame for the company's downward spiral lands squarely on Tavares' shoulders. Dealers have accused him of making a series of short-sighted decisions that prioritize immediate profits over the company's long-term health. And they're not just whispering their complaints behind closed doors. They've publicly called him out in a scathing letter outlining how his leadership has led Stellantis down a perilous path. Tavares' approach, which includes aggressive cost-cutting and production adjustments, has done little to benefit the dealers, who are now left drowning in unsold inventory and struggling to stay profitable. Many argue that Tavares is more focused on inflating short-term earnings to pad his own paycheck, rather than building sustainable growth for the company. Even more troubling, these cost-saving measures have led to significant cuts in marketing budgets and compensation structures, which dealers say has severely impacted their ability to compete in the marketplace. The pressure is mounting, and it's unclear how long Tavares can hold on to his position. With rumors swirling about a possible leadership shakeup, it's only a matter of time before something gives. Could this be the breaking point that leads to a seismic shift in Stellantis' top brass? Why Stellantis' crisis matters to everyone. It's not just Stellantis dealers and employees who should be worried about this situation. This crisis has the potential to impact the entire automotive industry. With Stellantis' brands in a downward spiral, competitors are circling like vultures, eager to snatch up market share. This has set off a chain reaction of price wars, as other brands adjust their strategies to attract Stellantis' disillusioned customers. For car buyers, this could mean great deals across the board, as brands scramble to offer incentives and discounts to boost their own sales in the wake of Stellantis' struggle. But while that might sound good for buyers in the short term, the long-term implications are troubling. If Stellantis collapses, it could leave a massive gap in the market that smaller brands won't be able to fill, leading to less competition and potentially higher prices down the line. Not to mention the thousands of jobs at risk if Stellantis' factories close and dealerships shutter their doors. In an industry already reeling from economic shifts and the pivot to electric vehicles, Stellantis' troubles could be the tipping point that triggers further instability. This isn't just about one company, it's about the very future of the automotive landscape. Could this be the beginning of an era where the legends of the past are no longer here to compete? Stellantis' bold move away from V8 engines. Stellantis is making a radical shift away from its iconic V8 engines, a move that's causing quite a stir among loyalists. Known for its powerful muscle cars, the brand is now replacing its classic V8 engines with a new twin-turbo inline-6 Hurricane engine. This is part of a larger strategy to align Stellantis with industry trends focused on fuel efficiency and reduced emissions. The Hurricane engine promises better fuel economy and similar performance to the beloved V8s, but the question is, will consumers buy it? This decision has stirred up controversy. While some see it as Stellantis' attempt to stay competitive in an industry that's rapidly embracing fuel efficiency, others believe it's a betrayal of the brand's DNA. For Dodge and Ram fans in particular, the V8 engine wasn't just a component, it was an identity. The throaty growl of a Dodge V8 or the raw power behind a Ram truck was what set these vehicles apart. Now, with the Hurricane engine, many fans fear they'll lose the unique driving experience they cherished. It's like taking the soul out of a muscle car, said one auto enthusiast in an interview, voicing a sentiment echoed across social media. So will this gamble pay off, or will it alienate Stellantis' core customer base? The stakes are incredibly high. If Stellantis loses these loyal buyers, it could be a nail in the coffin for brands already struggling to keep up with shifting trends. But Stellantis is pressing forward, betting that buyers will eventually accept this new normal for performance. And that's not the only bold move Stellantis is making. There's more change on the horizon that's raising eyebrows across the industry. Stellantis and its dealers. Stellantis' relationship with its dealer network is fraying and fast. Dealers are growing frustrated with Stellantis' cost-cutting measures, shrinking marketing budgets, and compensation changes, all of which have made it harder for them to stay competitive. The Stellantis National Dealer Council has been vocal about the issues, going as far as to publicly criticize CEO Carlos Tavares for his approach, which they argue prioritizes short-term gains over the health of the dealer network. One dealer explained the situation bluntly: "We're not getting the support we need to sell these cars. Stellantis has cut budgets, lowered our incentives, and left us with a mountain of cars that we can't move." These budget cuts have resulted in a lack of promotional support, meaning dealers are now left with high inventory levels and fewer resources to incentivize potential buyers. This has been particularly damaging in a market where other brands are offering aggressive incentives to lure customers, putting Stellantis' dealers at a significant disadvantage. And then there's the issue of compensation. Stellantis has shifted dealer compensation models to focus on vehicle shipments rather than actual sales, which has intensified the financial burden on dealers. Instead of being compensated for the vehicles they actually sell, dealers are now being paid based on the number of cars Stellantis ships to them, a move that's backfiring as more cars pile up on lots without buyers. Many dealers are sounding the alarm that if Stellantis doesn't course correct soon, it could lead to widespread closures and leave gaps in the company's retail network. These tensions between Stellantis and its dealers are more than just a business spat. They're a signal of deep instability within the company's foundation. Will Stellantis respond to these calls for change, or are dealers just going to be left to fend for themselves? The answer may very well determine the fate of Stellantis' entire dealer network. Stellantis' pricing strategy gone wrong, as if declining sales and inventory overload weren't enough. Stellantis has also made the puzzling decision to raise prices across many of its models. For Jeep, this meant an average cost of over $55,000 for a new model, with high-end Wranglers pushing up to $85,000. While the company hopes to maintain its profit margins with these price hikes, the move seems out of touch with the reality facing most buyers today. In an economic climate where inflation and high interest rates are squeezing consumers' wallets, many potential buyers simply aren't willing to pay premium prices for Stellantis' offerings, not when other brands are offering competitive pricing and incentives. Industry analysts are baffled by this approach, with some even speculating that Stellantis might be out of touch with the financial pressures consumers face. One analyst observed, "It's like they're pricing these cars as if we're still in 2019, ignoring the economic realities of today's market." The fallout from this decision is already visible in Stellantis' sales numbers. The luxury pricing on Jeep and Ram models has pushed buyers towards rival brands that offer similar vehicles at more affordable price points. Stellantis' competitors are reaping the benefits, with some even ramping up their promotional campaigns to attract Stellantis' disillusioned customers. This strategy has also added to the inventory overload problem. With these higher prices, Stellantis' cars are sitting on lots longer, becoming less desirable as new models hit the market. By raising prices while sales are already slumping, Stellantis risks alienating even its most loyal customers. But will the company recognize the issue and adjust its strategy? Or is it already too late to win back consumers who feel priced out and overlooked? The next chapter in Stellantis' story may hinge on whether they're willing to reconsider their approach to pricing before the damage becomes irreversible. The cost of Stellantis' missteps. As Stellantis grapples with mounting financial issues, the company has resorted to drastic measures to stay afloat, measures that are hitting workers hard. Recently, Stellantis announced widespread layoffs and plant closures across North America, a move that's not only reducing operating costs, but also shaking the confidence of employees and communities that rely on these jobs. It's no small decision. These layoffs signal that Stellantis is in a tight corner, and the impact is being felt far beyond the factory floor. For workers, these layoffs are more than just numbers. They're personal crises that disrupt entire families and communities. Many employees have been with the company for decades, relying on Stellantis' stability to provide for their families. Now, as plants shut down, the workers are left with uncertain futures, with many wondering if they'll ever get their jobs back. Local economies are also reeling, as these plants were often one of the main sources of employment and economic support in their areas. The ripple effect is enormous, affecting everything from local businesses to real estate markets. But layoffs aren't just a cost-cutting measure. They're a symptom of Stellantis' struggle to keep up with changing market dynamics and consumer expectations. By reducing its workforce and closing plants, Stellantis may be saving money in the short term, but it risks losing its ability to respond quickly to market demands. Could these layoffs and closures ultimately backfire, leaving Stellantis too lean to compete effectively? Only time will tell, but for now, the company's employees and their communities are paying the price for Stellantis' missteps. A path to redemption or another gamble? As Stellantis faces a crisis with its current lineup, the company is also placing a significant bet on electrification. Stellantis has announced ambitious plans to shift a substantial portion of its fleet to electric vehicles, EVs, within the next few years. In theory, this could be a smart move as the automotive industry is increasingly embracing EVs, with major players like Tesla and Ford making big waves in the electric space. But the transition to electric isn't as simple as flipping a switch, and Stellantis has a long road ahead if it wants to catch up. One of the challenges Stellantis faces is balancing its electric ambitions with the expectations of its traditional customer base. Brands like Dodge and Ram are known for their powerful engines and performance-focused vehicles, and many die-hard fans are wary of the shift to electric. Will a Dodge EV be able to capture the same thrill that a roaring V8 engine offers? It's a tough sell for enthusiasts who have built their identities around the raw power of these cars. There's also the question of whether Stellantis can truly compete with established EV manufacturers who already have years of experience and a dedicated customer base. Moreover, electrification comes with hefty upfront costs, from developing the technology to setting up the necessary infrastructure for production and charging. Stellantis's current financial strain could make it difficult to invest at the scale needed to make a successful transition. But if Stellantis doesn't invest in EVs, it risks falling further behind as the market increasingly shifts toward electric options. Is Stellantis on the path to a new era of innovation, or is the company overestimating its ability to pivot in a fast-evolving industry? Jeep's identity crisis. Jeep, one of Stellantis's most iconic brands, is currently going through an identity crisis that's left both fans and dealers scratching their heads. Known for rugged, adventure-ready vehicles, Jeep has always been the go-to brand for outdoor enthusiasts and thrill seekers. But in recent years, Jeep has struggled to maintain this adventurous image as it rolls out more high-priced models that stray from the brand's traditional appeal. Take the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, for example. With a starting price that exceeds $80,000, it's hard to see how this luxury SUV fits with Jeep's rugged reputation. Sure, it's packed with high-end features and plenty of luxury, but many longtime Jeep fans are left wondering, where's the adventure? The high price tag has also raised concerns among buyers who view Jeep as a brand that was once accessible and unpretentious. By moving toward a more luxury-oriented approach, Jeep risks alienating the very fans who helped build its reputation. Meanwhile, competitors are seizing the opportunity to capture Jeep's disillusioned customers. Brands like Ford have successfully revived models like the Bronco, tapping into the off-road market that Jeep used to dominate. The Bronco offers buyers the rugged experience they crave at a more reasonable price point, making it a tempting alternative to Jeep's pricier models. If Jeep continues down this luxury path, it might find itself losing its core customer base to rivals who are offering a more authentic adventure experience. So will Jeep be able to find its way back to its roots? Or is the brand set on a course that will ultimately distance it from its original mission? For a brand that's built on heritage and ruggedness, this is a pivotal moment. Will Jeep's iconic legacy be enough to weather this storm? The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome could redefine the brand's future. A network on the edge. As Stellantis continues to grapple with internal turmoil, the company's dealers are finding themselves in increasingly precarious positions. With rising inventories, dwindling support from the parent company, and an inflexible pricing strategy, Stellantis's dealers are facing financial challenges that few saw coming. The disconnect between Stellantis's leadership and its dealers has reached a critical point, with many dealers publicly expressing frustration over how they've been left to fend for themselves. The Stellantis National Dealer Council has taken an unprecedented step by openly criticizing the company's leadership, accusing them of prioritizing short-term gains over long-term stability. Dealers are now stuck with huge lots of unsold inventory, a situation made worse by Stellantis's decision to continue pushing high prices on models that are simply not moving. Many dealerships are reporting that the costs of holding onto these vehicles are becoming unbearable, with some even considering closing their doors for good if the situation doesn't improve. In response, dealers are calling for more incentives, better pricing flexibility, and a larger voice in the company's strategic decisions. The Corolla pickup isn't just another truck, it's potentially a cultural shift for compact pickups. Toyota is bringing a refreshing, no-nonsense approach that appeals to those who don't need massive towing capacity or luxury-level features, but do want something practical, reliable, and affordable. For younger buyers, urbanites, and small business owners, this truck might redefine what entry-level means in the pickup world. Industry experts believe that the Corolla pickup could even inspire other automakers to explore compact, budget-friendly truck options, sparking a trend that may reshape the entire segment. With Toyota's trusted brand backing this model, it could very well lead a wave of new compact trucks that combine rugged utility with daily practicality. This level of unrest among dealers is not just a minor hiccup, it's a sign of serious trouble within Stellantis's business model. Dealers are the company's frontline representatives, and their dissatisfaction reflects broader issues that Stellantis must address if it wants to stabilize its operations. The question is, will Stellantis make the changes needed to support its dealers, or are we witnessing the breakdown of a once stable network? Stellantis's EV gamble. As the global automotive industry pivots toward electric vehicles, Stellantis Stellantis has made ambitious promises to become a major player in the EV space. The company has committed to launching a wide range of EV models over the next few years, with the goal of competing with industry leaders like Tesla, Ford, and Genia. But given Stellantis' current challenges, there are doubts about whether the company has the resources and stability to make this vision a reality. The transition to EVs requires massive investments in research, infrastructure, and production. Stellantis is already stretched thin financially, and many wonder if the company can truly afford to take on the high costs associated with EV development. Furthermore, the EV market is becoming increasingly crowded, with established brands and new startups all vying for dominance. For Stellantis, which has been slow to enter the EV race, the pressure is on to make a big impact quickly if it wants to secure a foothold in the market. Another challenge for Stellantis is convincing its traditional customer base to embrace electric vehicles. The company's brands, especially Dodge and Jeep, are known for their powerful, fuel-guzzling engines and rugged, performance-oriented designs. Whether these customers will be drawn to electric models is uncertain, and Stellantis risks alienating its most loyal buyers if the transition isn't handled carefully. Stellantis has set ambitious EV goals, but with time running out, the company is racing against the clock. Will they be able to keep up in this rapidly shifting market, or is Stellantis on the verge of falling further behind? The future of Stellantis. With declining sales, struggling dealerships, and a major transition to EVs on the horizon, the question on everyone's mind is simple: can Stellantis survive? The company's financial challenges are severe, and its reputation is on the line as it faces criticism from dealers, consumers, and industry analysts alike. Some experts believe that without a drastic change in strategy, Stellantis could be headed toward bankruptcy, a development that would send shockwaves through the automotive industry. In the face of these challenges, Stellantis' leadership is under intense pressure to turn the company around. CEO Carlos Tavares and his team have a monumental task ahead of them, as they must balance short-term survival with long-term goals. The company's plan to pivot toward EVs, cut costs, and streamline operations may provide a path forward, but the risks are high, and time is running out. Stellantis' fate may very well depend on its ability to make swift, strategic moves that restore confidence among dealers, customers, and investors. The outcome of Stellantis' struggle will have implications that extend beyond the company itself. A collapse could impact thousands of jobs, destabilize the dealer network, and shake up the automotive industry as a whole. For car enthusiasts, consumers, and industry insiders alike, the fate of Stellantis is a story to watch closely. The automotive giant stands at a crossroads, and its next steps could determine whether it thrives or fades into history. As the future of Stellantis hangs in the balance, one thing is clear: the company's next moves will shape the automotive landscape for years to come. Will Stellantis be able to reinvent itself and survive this turbulent period, or are we witnessing the final days of a legendary automotive empire? If you're as intrigued as we are by the twists and turns of this story, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. You won't want to miss any updates as Stellantis' fate unfolds.